Hey kids, it's time for another episode of Crazy Games I Should Have Never Repaired. And luckily I did not buy. Brad's Mars God of War. I got it running for him. Just go over some things I did quickly. I always put a voltage indicator on the 5 volt here. It's set to 526, which is nice. Do the ground mods here. This board's grounded, this board's grounded. Add additional wires on here for ground and 5 volts. Change the battery out to a CR2032 with a blocking diode. Change the RAM. It had an AMI. I don't like AMIs. They tend to fail. Another problem on this game is this interconnector. I mentioned that I added an extra ground and 5 volt line. You have to do that. I mean, you really do. But then I use this tool and I remove each one of these pins, and you can see they're shiny now. Well, they were gray. And if they're gray, that means they're not conducting. Now, why didn't I just replace them? Oh, and that happens because of this original Data Century battery that was in the game. That's why I changed it to a CR2032 lithium. But you're probably wondering why I didn't replace these pins, because they're no longer available. These double-sided pins you just cannot get. I mean, I guess you can get them if you want to spend a lot of money. But I was able to remove each one of these pins and then polish it and reinsert it. If you're really careful and you use the proper tool, you can do that. It takes a little time, but it's worth it because this can cause a lot of issues, because this is the communications between the CPU board up here and the driver board down here. On the back of this board, I did a bunch of modifications to tie all the grounds together because they're not tied together from the factory. That way, you're not relying on just one of the green wires here to get ground for, say, the pop bumpers or some lights. They're all tied together, going down all the different grounds. This is what I did on Brad's driver board. Tied all the grounds together. See, they all got to tie together, because otherwise they all depend on, like, this set of lamps depends on one pin there. So now we don't depend on one pin. Bottom of the game, new capacitor right there. You can see it. That was originally the orange one. The general illumination fuse was constantly blowing. Figured that out. You had a bent socket. Another thing under the playfield is this ramp, which is really odd. It's a 3-pole flipper coil, basically, with an end of stroke switch. You can see in there that has to open or you'll blow the fuse or burn the coil. Anyways, this wasn't working right. Had to repair this. And I also added a resistor between the transistor, because this uses an under playfield transistor, because they didn't have enough driver board transistors. So you need to put a pull-up resistor between the base and 24 volts. And this line goes up to the 24 volts for this coil. I know that's kind of a weird way to install it, but it actually works well and it's quick and easy. Any of these under playfield transistors on these early System80s, they left this modification out. They had a service bulletin about it. A couple other little things, like somebody remade this plastic, and the drop targets would, when they go in, they would hit this face, so I had to cut that back. Also had the wrong size rubber here, that it was too loose. That again would prevent the drop targets, because if this thing's hanging out too much, it doesn't make them fall back. So let's fire this up. Got credits. Somebody added the credit button here, but it works. Start her up. I should mention, when the game starts, this ramp is up. I had the fuse out, put it back in. And that way, when you shoot up, it goes right back up there. And then if you lower all the drop targets and get a ball lock, I believe it comes down. So if you lock one ball, for the second ball to go up to the launch, the ramp goes down, and that way you can send it up there and lock the ball up there. And then look, the ramp just came back up for your 2-ball multi-ball, so that the ball can go up to the top. I had to fix one of the pop bumpers. one of the pop bumper driver boards was not working. Let's lose the ball, and then we're gonna go to ball 3. I think I have this set to 3 ball. It better not be on 5. If it is, I'll set it to 3. Thanks for putting up with this video. I just wanted to show you what we got to do on System80s. That isn't even all the stuff that you can do, but it's a good part of what you have to do to repair a Gottlieb System80 game. I did a lot of work. Of course, Brad will never appreciate it or never understand how much time any of this stuff takes, because everything I do is worth nothing and everything he does is worth everything. Yeah!